I've always been interested in science. Eating has always been a big part of my life, my family life, my childhood, and so I decided to find a lab that studies the neural control of feeding behavior.
Why do we eat what we eat? What makes us hungry? Why do certain foods seem more appetizing than others? Dr. Alhadeff and her team study the signals that our body sends to our brain when processing and thinking about food.
As we eat, the food goes through our gastrointestinal tract. From our mouth to our esophagus, to our stomachs, to our intestines. This signaling then goes to the brain through a variety of different pathways. And it's this brain signaling that ultimately impacts, when we start eating, when we stop eating. As we're imaging individual neurons, you can see these neurons here in white firing from recording on this microscope of the brain while we're infusing different kinds of foods within the gut. Work in our lab is studying how different kinds of macronutrients impact the brain and our behavior. And this is really important because there's lots of popular diets right now that manipulate the composition of what we eat. There's diets that are low in carbohydrate or diets that are low in fat. And so this kind of basic research that's understanding how these macronutrients are signaled to the brain can have really good insight into what's happening when we manipulate our diets. That kind of understanding is really going to help shape how the world views not just our normal eating behaviors, but also how eating contributes to diseases like obesity and diabetes.
Studying the relationship between the gut and the brain has led to innovations in medicine that manipulate our appetite.
Now we have several different kinds of weight loss drugs that are FDA approved for diabetes and obesity. And they work through a variety of different mechanisms. The most popular ones right now work through a system called glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1, and they're long-acting analogs of this peptide that normally exists in the human body. In the normal body, GLP-1 is degraded within a couple minutes. But in the obesity drugs, they've modified these drugs so that they no longer get degraded on such a fast time frame. And so they have longer lasting effects on things like appetite. What we eat and the gut environment can have implications not just for body weight control, but also for our metabolism, for food allergy, for mental health, for cognition. We're finding out every day about new kinds of functions that are being impacted by gut health.